Humanity has lived for thousands of years on this blue, green, and brown sphere, a form of life that has come to dominate this planet. Until the emergence of modern humans, various different human species appeared throughout history, each adapting to their environments with unique abilities. Yet all of them eventually vanished, some due to climate changes, some from food shortages, and others because of environmental pressures. However, studies have revealed that modern humans, the species known as Homo sapiens, still carry traces of Neanderthal genes. This discovery shows that our ancestors once interacted and even coexisted with the Neanderthal species thousands of years ago. As scientists delved deeper into humanity's past, they uncovered astonishing findings and surprising truths. In recent years, attention has shifted not only to our ancestors, but also to the possibility of future human species, what they might look like, how they might live, and how we might interact with them. Today, we'll embark on a journey through both the ancient and potential future chapters of humanity. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video to support me. Now, if you're ready, let's start our journey. When we speak about the origins, diversity, and destiny of humankind, one central truth stands out. Modern humans are not the first, and likely not the last success of evolution. Our story is a branching evolutionary network woven together by environmental pressures, migrations, genetic exchanges, and cross-species encounters. Over the past 4 decades, paleontology and paleogenetics have revealed that multiple human-like species coexisted on Earth. Neanderthals, Denisovans, Homo erectus, and other regionally adapted populations. Some vanished completely, while others interbred with our ancestors. Genomic research has proven that parts of modern human DNA come from both Neanderthals and Denisovans, and that these ancient genetic contributions helped shape who we are today, affecting everything from immunity to metabolism and even neurological traits. This discovery demonstrates that the concept of a single, clearly defined human species is far more complex than once believed. Evolution doesn't draw clean lines. Instead, it weaves a continuous and tangled web of change. This historical context is crucial because it provides evidence that evolution does not occur at random, but operates through specific mechanisms, such as isolation, selection, gene flow, and genetic drift, that can generate new branches of life over time. When discussing the possibility of a new human species emerging, scientists generally divide the issue into 2 main dimensions. The first involves natural evolutionary processes, the slow, gradual divergence of populations under different environmental conditions and selective pressures. The second involves artificial or accelerated evolution, shaped by human technological power, genetic engineering, synthetic biology, and neurotechnology. From a classical biological standpoint, speciation requires 3 fundamental conditions: reproductive isolation, the accumulation of heritable differences in sufficient time. These processes are well documented in mammals and ancient hominins, and typically unfold over hundreds of thousands to millions of years. Studies on evolutionary rates show that for species with long generational cycles, like humans, forming a completely new species naturally is an extremely slow process. Given today's highly interconnected world, where humans migrate, mix, and share genes globally, the conditions for classical speciation no longer exist. The global gene flow effectively prevents isolated populations from diverging enough to become new species. This means that a natural Homo sapiens era Homo Novus transition is highly unlikely in the near future. However, there is an important distinction to make here: the difference between genetic variation and speciation. The human genome continues to accumulate small mutations and adapt under selective pressures. But for those changes to result in a new, reproductively distinct species, isolation and deep time are still required. Yet humanity no longer exists solely within the realm of natural selection. We have entered a new arena, one defined by laboratories, biotechnology, and digital evolution. Through CRISPR gene editing, synthetic life design, artificial intelligence integration, and human-machine symbiosis, we are beginning to direct our own evolutionary path. In essence, evolution has entered a new phase, conscious evolution, where humans are no longer just the product of biology, but also the engineers of their own future form. CRISPR and other gene editing tools have demonstrated that it is possible to intervene directly in the human germline. The potential of these technologies is being discussed not only for medical treatments, such as the elimination of hereditary diseases, but also for human enhancement, which involves deliberately improving physical or cognitive traits. In scientific literature, this topic is examined in depth from technical, ethical, legal, and social perspectives. Regulations, oversight mechanisms, and ethical boundaries vary widely between countries. Some enforce strict prohibitions, while others continue open public and academic debates. At the core of this discourse lie questions about social inequality, eugenic tendencies, consent, and justice. Interventions in the germline, those passed from one generation to the next, raise serious concerns about widening class divides and creating genetically privileged groups. In short, while human-driven accelerated evolution is scientifically plausible, without strict global ethical frameworks and governance, it could produce chaotic and irreversible social consequences. Academic reviews and bioethical councils emphasize this warning with remarkable clarity. Beyond Earth, space colonization offers one of the most plausible scenarios for human biological divergence through geographic isolation. Environments such as Mars present dramatically different conditions from Earth. Gravity, radiation exposure, atmospheric composition, and food systems would all exert unique selective pressures. If such isolation were to persist over many generations, it could lead to the accumulation of distinct phenotypic and genotypic adaptations. Models of permanent colonization on Mars investigate how radiation might affect reproduction and development, how reduced gravity could reshape bone and muscle structure, and at what pace intergenerational evolution might proceed. These studies suggest that in environments like Mars or the Moon, adaptation toward a new subspecies, often hypothetically referred to as Homo Novus, could emerge over thousands of generations, potentially spanning hundreds of thousands of years. Of course, these projections remain model-based. Advances in technology, such as radiation shielding and genetic modification, could either accelerate or suppress these evolutionary processes. The potential of space colonization to accelerate human evolution is a genuine area of debate, one that also exposes the profound challenges of sustainable colonization, biological safety, and ethical oversight. In parallel, transhumanist visions propose that humanity may transcend its biological limitations through technological augmentation. Fields such as brain-computer interfaces, BCI, neurotechnology, synthetic organs, and potentially even mind uploading suggest a future where being human might no longer mean being purely biological. Instead, humans could evolve into entities integrated with data, software, and digital infrastructure. This points to a form of new species that is not biological but ontological, a different category of existence entirely: disembodied consciousness, digital minds, or hybrid bio-digital beings. At this frontier, scientific reports intersect with philosophy, law, and ethics. Concepts like the definition of consciousness, consent, rights, identity, and the restructuring of social order stand at the center of transhumanist transformation. Technically, early-stage BCIs and neurotechnologies already exist, but fully integrated, globally accessible, human plus AI hybrids remain experimental and face numerous engineering, ethical, and logistical bottlenecks. Nevertheless, the pace of development suggests that radical effects within the next few decades are entirely plausible. The socio-political implications of such biological and technological transformations would be profound. The emergence of enhanced individuals could deepen social inequalities. Access to genetic and technological enhancement would likely depend on economic privilege, creating new forms of biological class divisions and potentially a genetically stratified society. Historical precedents show that technological advantages, when paired with wealth accumulation, tend to entrench hierarchical power structures. And in the genomic and biotechnological era, this stratification could become even more extreme. Additionally, the definition of a new species raises pressing legal questions. Citizenship, rights, labor, military service, and reproductive autonomy could all require the rewriting of national and international law. Scientific literature consistently warns of this potential divide, advocating for proactive regulation, universal ethical frameworks, and equitable access to resources to prevent social fragmentation or conflict. From a technical and evolutionary standpoint, the emergence of a new human species is not defined solely by physical or genetic differences. Cultural evolution also plays a decisive role. The ways we adopt and regulate technology, our parental choices, our cultural values, and social norms all interact with genetic and technological changes. Thus, the future of humanity will not be shaped by biology or technology alone, but by how our cultures evolve alongside them, determining what it truly means to be human in the centuries to come. ChatGPT, for example, if a certain community begins to culturally approve genetic modification through deliberate choices, those social norms could create lasting differences over generations. The interaction between cultural evolution and biological evolution may in fact become the most decisive factor in humanity's future diversification. Because human behavior, access to technology, and ethical norms will determine which evolutionary paths are chosen and which are abandoned. If we take a more pragmatic look at the timeline and probabilities, the picture becomes clearer. If no external intervention occurs and humans on Earth continue to mix globally through gene flow, natural speciation will remain slow and uncertain. Even hundreds of thousands of years into the future, Homo sapiens would likely experience many small adaptations, but it's doubtful that paleontologists would classify it as a new species without an extremely long geological timescale. On the other hand, technological intervention and off-world colonization could dramatically accelerate this process. Planned genetic modifications or guided adaptations in isolated colonies could make humanity unrecognizable within hundreds or thousands of years, effectively forcing us to redefine the very boundaries of biological species. Yet such acceleration comes with serious ethical risks, ecological unpredictability, and social costs. For this reason, the majority of the scientific community advocates a cautious and regulated approach. Another fascinating dimension is the idea of bringing back extinct species and its implications. Archaeogenetic research has partially decoded the Neanderthal and Denisovan genomes, leading some scientists to speculate that de-extinction technologies could theoretically be applied to ancient human species such as Neanderthals. However, this notion faces strong technical, ethical, and legal objections. Questions of consent, social integration, psychological harm, and the limited scientific value of such an experiment pose immense challenges. Current discussions in bioethics argue that such projects should be strictly restricted, prioritizing conservation and knowledge rather than restoration. This field offers a vivid example of how humanity must decide where to draw the line in intervening with its own past. So can a new human species truly emerge? The answer depends on both scientific mechanisms and social decisions. From a biological standpoint, the potential is clear and real. Genetic change, isolation, environmental variation, and technological manipulation can all produce new evolutionary branches. But how fast and under what ethical limits this happens depends entirely on the choices humanity makes today. If genetic engineering, transhumanist technologies, and space colonization proceed without ethical oversight, fairness, or scientific restraint, the new lineages that emerge will almost certainly bring social trauma, inequality, and human rights violations. On the other hand, if these transformations are conducted within a careful, universal, and just framework, they could help eliminate diseases and responsibly enhance human potential. In this sense, today's debates are not only about scientific curiosity, they are laying the foundation for a social contract for the future of humanity. So my friends, it's clear that we are heading toward a strange and astonishing future, one that will challenge everything we think we know about being human. Unfortunately, in that future, some parts of humanity may vanish, while others will adapt to the new order and find a way to survive. Hopefully, our future generations will adapt wisely and live in harmony with the transformations to come. That's all from me for now. I'm off to search for new fascinating topics and reliable sources for my next documentary. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Whether it's new video ideas or scientific discussions, I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.